I got a question from a viewer, and they're joining the Navy, and they're trying to decide whether to go Quartermaster, Intelligence, or Corpsman. And I don't think it's any debate. If you have one of those three options, you got to go IS, Intelligence. I'm going to go through each one though. A Quartermaster is responsible for getting a ship from point A to point B, say San Diego to Hawaii. A lot goes into that. Your part of the puzzle is creating the track, the road on the sea, and then monitoring your ship as it goes along. You use various electronic tools like a GPS, and use a voyage management system, which is like a computer that has a visual like a GPS would. In the off time, where you're not sitting at this big map of the water that we call charts, you're hoisting flags and you're doing flag stuff, or you're ordering more charts, and you're doing a lot of math, doing a lot of highly detailed drawing on these charts that we have. It's not too incredibly hard. The math is real simple, but it's a lot of sitting and concentrating in one area, and a lot of people double checking your work, triple checking your work. You plan briefs. So let's say you make a voyage from San Diego to Hawaii, you plan a brief, and all the brass in the ship kind of agree, and they pretend like they know what they're doing. For me, I didn't know what I was getting into when I first was a quartermaster, and I liked the job, but as a career, no, I don't think so. Now, quartermaster is cool because you get to do a lot of other cool stuff. You got to be attached to various places in the Navy that are really neat, but you're still going to be doing your quartermaster job, which is basically a navigator. You navigate on the water. During deployment, you'll stand 2 watches a day probably, and it's a pretty tedious watch because it's very important. You have a lot of people's lives in your hand, and if you miscalculate it, then miscalculate your ship going in a certain direction. If you don't pinpoint exactly where your ship is, then it can possibly be a bad thing, and we've seen that over the past couple of years quite a bit. So it's an important job, but is it that high-speed, awesome job that you've always dreamed of doing? No way, not even close. In second place, out of your choices, I would choose Corpsman. Corpsmen have a great job in the military. They can get attached to all sorts of units, Marines, and I think shore duty, they go to hospitals mainly, which is crazy because some of the corpsmen that I've worked with were jumping out of airplanes, and now they're dealing with hospital stuff, which is crazy to me. I don't know. But their lifestyle is much less insane unless they get brought to a warship, which there's a corpsman or multiple corpsmen on each warship. And then it gets a little bizarre because, you hit a port and then you're dealing with STDs and you're dealing with all kinds of weird stuff on ship as the drama unfolds as you go on a 6 to 8 month deployment. I worked with Marines for the majority of my military career, and I never met a Marine that didn't like a corpsman. I mean, there's some bums out there too, but most of the Marines just hold corpsmen in such high regard, so that makes me think that it's a good job. But I don't know much about them other than I had a dud corpsman at my command, and it was like pulling teeth to get anything taken care of. But I've also had corpsmen that are, fantastic. So after QM, I'd pick corpsman. I don't know anything about intelligence, but I just know a few people that were in that community. I know one person, pretty good actually, that is now working in Washington, D.C., and he makes $210,000 a year. He got out last June. So I don't know if there's any better deal. So maybe the military isn't good for you, and then you make low 6 figures your first. I mean, this guy's 25. So you do the math there. But guys like me, not very bright in the old dome, we have jobs like Quartermaster and Boatsmate to pick from, and I had a great time and I worked around some great people, but in no way, if I had the choice, would I have taken Quartermaster over Corpsman or Intelligence. So I hope that helps you with your decision. Good luck with the Navy, and thank you for watching. Here's one more thing about being an intelligence specialist. My buddy, he got to brief Barack Obama.